Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hope everybody is doing great today. As you're coming in, please hit that like button, double tap the screen. I greatly appreciate it. Today's topic is going to be beware of the new AI kidnapping scams because they're getting like real scary. I came up with this topic because my friend really messaged me yesterday that her aunt got scammed through an AI calling her and saying that her daughter was kidnapped. And yeah, and it was actually her daughter's voice and everything. So that's what made it realistic. And when you're in the moment, you're not really thinking. So, and they told her not to not to hang up the phone or that, they were gonna harm her daughter. So she did exactly what they wanted her to do, unfortunately, and she was scammed out of money. And what's crazy is that they also called the father doing the same thing, but he didn't send the money. So only the mother, my friend's aunt was scammed. But then I started looking into it and it's actually a new thing. So, like my title says, beware of the new AI kidnapping scams. It's getting real. So hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please double tap that screen, hit that like button. Good morning, positive crash outs. How are you? Happy Wednesday. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so a new scam going on. They have AIs sounding like your family members. Sounding like your family members trying to scam you out of money. So beware. This is very scary, very scary. I just spoke about an incident that happened that made me look into this. My best friend, she called me, I mean, not called me, but messaged me to tell me that her aunt was recently scammed by AI. So, I just want to make this I want to make everybody aware of the recent scams that are going on. So, yeah. So it made me look into it. Good morning, Lady E. How are you? Yes, everybody, please double tap the screen, double tap the screen. Yeah, this is crazy. So, I want to talk about this serious, thing that's going on today. Something that's been happening all across the country and around the world. It's not your typical scam call, it's next level. These scammers are using artificial intelligence to clone voices of your loved ones. And they're calling people pretending that a family member has been kidnapped. And this is no joke. Like I said, my friend's aunt was recently scammed, saying that her daughter was and she had to send X amount of money or something was going to come to harm. And they used her daughter's voice is the crazy part. So it'll sound exactly like your family member. So beware, guys. You know, um, if you ever got in a random child in danger, this is for you. And even if you haven't, you need to know how to protect yourself before it happens. You know, AI is being misused by criminals to fake voices, mimic people's tone, and trick loved ones. This is called a virtual kidnapping scam or AI voice. cloning scam. Victims are emotionally manipulated into sending money immediately. Wow. Everybody, excuse me. Please, everybody, double like button. Please share this out. Share this out. Yeah, people need to know, what's going on. This is, serious because thinking about it and then you get that phone call, they try to manipulate you. They tell you don't hang up the phone, don't hang up the phone or they're gonna unalive your loved one. You're not gonna think twice, especially if they sound like they sound like your loved one. You're not gonna think about it, you know? Sound like your sorry. So yeah, um, it's just getting crazy out there. So let me share some of what's been happening recently. Besides the store scan, scam, sorry, these are real news stories. There was a New York case in Westchester. Parents got caught saying their children had been kidnapped. Voices of their kids were used. It sounded real. Like it really sounded like the children. It sounded like the, kidnapper. And then police, of course, confirmed that it was a scam. So, oh, brother. So, you know. And then in Washington State, a family received a call that their loved one had been taken. The scammer played a cloned voice recording to make it sound real. Have any of you guys heard about this yet? The AI scam, kidnapping scam? Let me know if you guys have heard about it and you know anybody close to you that it has happened to recently. Because as I was looking around, there's quite a few stories. So yeah, there's a new AI voice cloning that's been going on. Scammers are using AI voice cloning tools that can copy someone's voice from as little as 10 seconds of audio. They grab those clips from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or even voicemails. They can make a call pretending to be a kidnapper and play the cloned voice to convince you. They might use caller ID spoofing to make it look like the call is coming from your loved one's phone number. They demand immediate payment, often through wire transfer, crypto, or gift cards. That alone, if somebody's asking for crypto or gift cards, that's suspicious because usually they want the wire transfer or they want the cash, you know? They try to keep you on the phone so you can't call or check on your family member. They don't want you to hang up. They don't want you to think. They want you to panic. And they know the sound of your child's voice will make you react emotionally instead of logically. Imagine hearing your kid's voice on the other end of the phone. Of course, you're gonna, you know, um, jump to conclusions and think that something really happened, you know? So, you have to be aware, that these things are happening. And unfortunately, they won't let you off the phone because they'll say that they're going to hurt your loved ones. So, you have to really be on alert. Some warning signs and red flags. If you ever get a call like this, you can't verify the person's safety because the scammer won't let you hang up. You hear crying or begging that sounds real but slightly robotic or off. The caller refuses to talk to you directly or doesn't let you talk directly to the supposed victim. The caller demands secrecy, you know? Don't tell anyone. You're told to send money fast with threats like if you hang up, we'll hurt them. And then, of course, they request an untraceable payment through like Bitcoin, Zelle, wire transfer, or gift cards. You know, most, if it's real, they're going to want, that wire transfer, or they're going to want that cash. They're not going to tell you, oh, send it through Bitcoin or Zelle or send me gift cards. Like, no, you know? The telemarketer that called to can be a part. They will record your voice whenever they call and ask, is this so and so? Your name? Never say yes. Respond, send me a letter or email, and that's it. Yep. It's crazy out here. And with this AI, you know, that should be my next thing. If AI is, trustworthy, like, or is it harming us, you know so what do you do if it happens? Now let's talk about what to do if it ever happens to you or someone and I started talking about this, J-Lu, because my friend messaged me yesterday that her aunt got scammed this way. um her She received a phone call that was supposedly her daughter, sounding just like her daughter, you know saying that she was kidnapped, and that if she doesn't that if her mother didn't send money, that she was gonna be harmed. She said, don't hang up. They say if you hang up that they're gonna unalive me. So her panicking, what did she do? She sent the money, unfortunately. Um, but one of the important warning signs that they said, that although it might sound real, like the voice might sound real, AI, you can always tell that it sounds slightly robotic, or a little off. So just be alert, be very aware. 9 times out of 10, if the voice sounds robotic, is definitely AI or some kind of app they're using, you know? Yeah, it's sad. Yep. Because they're not going to find you. Of course, they're using, things that are untraceable. You're not going to be able to pinpoint where they are. You know, they they have experience in this, you know? So they'd say that you're supposed to stay calm, of course. They don't want you to panic. Don't give them that. That's what they want you to do. They want you to panic. So, take a deep breath and just, be calm as much as you can, even if it feels real, you know? Ask questions only your loved one would know. Something personal that an AI voice can't fake. Try to call or text your loved one on another phone. Most of the time, you'll find they're fine. Hopefully, there's a way you can reach them, through another device or something like that. But unfortunately, if you're on your mobile and that's the only way, I mean, I guess while you're on your mobile, you can actually text somebody. So that's the good thing. But in that, like, moment, you're not thinking rationally, you know? And of course, don't send them the money. Legit kidnappers don't ask for money through Zelle or crypto. They want that cold, hard cash. They want that cash. They want that wire transfer. You know, they don't want no Zelle or crypto or Bitcoins. So you should hang up the phone and you should call the police or the FBI. Local police can trace the call and log a report. That's the only thing they can do. Most of the time, though, if they're gonna trace it, that most likely they're not gonna find anything on the other end because these scammers know what they're doing. The FBI also tracks these scams through 1-800 call FBI or ic3.gov. That's 1-800 call FBI or ic3.gov. So, share the awareness. Tell friends, parents, co-workers, especially older folks who may not know about voice cloning. Ways you can protect your family. Create a family safe word, a secret code you only share within your family. So if there's ever an emergency, you can verify it's really them. You know, if you ever get this weird call saying that your family member is being harmed, just right away try to get information that only you know within the family, and use a secret code, even if it's a secret word. you know Limit public voice recordings. Well, that's it for me, right? Be careful what you post on social media. Scammers can download those videos and clone voices in minutes. Talk about it ahead of time. Share this live, guys. Please double tap the screen, hit that like button, share. This is important information. A lot of people need to know about this scam that's going around before it's too late, before they're out of money, because you know you're not thinking correctly when you have a family member on the other end of that phone call saying that something is wrong with them. Saying that they were in an accident, and a lawyer is calling you saying that, if you don't send this kind of money, they're gonna be detained. Or if your child was kidnapped, and if you don't send this money, they're gonna get harmed. you know Talk about it ahead of time. Let everybody know, let them be aware of this scam that's going on. The more your family knows about this, the faster they'll recognize a scam. Lady E says that she barely answers the call. Barely answers a call she doesn't know. But when she does, she always answers in the deepest voice I can. Yeah, that sounds about right. And of course, um, they say don't say your name. Tell them to, like J. Lou said, tell them to send a letter or email or something like that. Don't ever don't talk too long. But like I just said, they can, within seconds, within minutes, they already have your voice downloaded, which is crazy. You know, I don't know how they get your family members' information, but they're smart. That's what. Imagine how much thousands or even millions they have been scamming. Since this started. So, this is one of the scariest scams I've seen lately, and then to know somebody that actually got scammed this way, it's crazy. It goes beyond, logic. It attacks emotion. And with AI getting more advanced, these scams are only going to get more realistic. That's why awareness is everything. Share this information with your family. Set up a code word. And if you ever get a call like this, pause, um think, rationally. Be rational. Try to text that person while you're on the phone with them, could more than likely, whoever, hopefully the person they say they are is the type of person that, you know, reacts right away, that calls back right away, that texts back right away, Oh, yeah, and that's another thing. Let them know, don't call me, just answer me through text. Because I know some people, you text them and they want to call you. And then, you can't hang up with the caller, so they won't know. I mean, I guess you can after that, but just verify and call the authorities. Let them know. I mean, even if you think they can't trace it, just let them know so they can be aware, make a report. You know. So, anybody that's listening to this now or after I get off, let me know. Have you or anyone you known ever experienced one of these calls? Drop it in the chat or in the comments. I want to hear your stories. It's crazy, I wouldn't think that somebody that I know, you know, would fall for this kind of thing. But like I said, if you're on the, older side, or if your child's voice is on the other end, do you really think logically? Are you gonna react out of emotion, and you're not even gonna think in the moment because you're gonna want to react and make sure that your kid's okay, especially if you can't get off the phone because they threaten to harm your loved one. you know um the more we talk about it, the more people we can protect. So please, like this stream up, let's get in the algorithm for people to see it. um and share it wherever you can. Share it on all the social media you can. Share it on your page if you're a content creator. Let people be aware of this scam that's going on. um you know there have been several, not only around the country but outside of the country as well. So everybody needs to be aware of this. J. Lu says, I would say, well, y'all took the wrong kid because I ain't got it. I know, that's what I said. I said, don't come calling me because they'll be mad. Drop them back and next time do your research on the kids. Yeah, I mean, that's what I said earlier. I was like, yep, if they try to do that with me, they're going to be mad. But I mean, I also said they know who they're doing this to. They must look up their bank records or something like this prior to calling, because how do they know they actually have the money? And they must be looking through people's maybe their social media, seeing like if they travel a lot, or if they're shopping a lot at expensive places. Then they get your real name, they start checking out your bank statements so they know what you got you know Lady E says, J Lu, definitely. If they call talking about they took me, my family would be like, keep her. She talked too much crap. Ah, you know, yeah. Sometimes they don't know. Um, yeah, but these scammers are something else. Hey, Fabi, welcome in. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I've been talking about the newest. Well, not the new, but um something that I was recently made aware of, the new AI voice cloning scam, that they will call you acting like a family member with their exact voice. Well, not exact voice, because like I said, it does sound kind of robotic, so you do have to be aware to that. But if you're in that situation and you get that call, you might not really be listening to that part. But Now that you are aware, make sure that if it does happen to you, that you're really listening and, realize if it's real or not, because most AIs do sound robotic. Yeah. Please double tap the screen, hit that like button. Yeah, unfortunately, it recently happened to one of my best friends' aunt over the weekend. So it's still happening, and that's why I wanted to talk about it and just make people aware. You know, the more, like I said, the more we talk about it, the more people we can protect. So yes, like, share, comment, you know. People have to be aware of this. Do you know anybody that it happened to? Like any of your friends or family members? Like, I gotta tell my mother about it because, just to be aware. Because although, I think she's smarter than that, you just never know. So I definitely have to tell my mother because she be on the internet too, you know? If your family member, especially if they're older and they still on the internet, but they might not understand AI and things like that, we have to make them aware, so they won't get scammed. So yeah, you know, it's real sad. I was saying earlier that there were multiple incidents that happened. Um, it happened in Washington. It happened in Washington that they played a recording during a ransom call to make it sound real. In Westchester County, parents got received calls that claimed their children had been kidnapped. In Texas, um, people were falsely claiming a family member was held and demanding ransom. In Florida, a woman was scammed out of $15,000 um, through a AI cloned voice of her daughter saying she caused an accident and needed bail money. She sent the $15,000, and afterwards they try to call her back for 30,000 more, saying that the person lost the baby because supposedly the person she had an accident with was pregnant, and then they call her back for $30,000 that supposedly the person lost the baby, and if she didn't want to be sued to send 30,000. And that's when her grandson made her aware and was like, no, text message message your daughter, message mom, and see if she's okay. So she, even though she sent the 15,000. Hey Candy, thanks for joining. Thanks for the support. I greatly appreciate it. I'm just letting everybody know about the new AI voice cloning scam. Well, it's not new, but I was made aware of it recently because it happened to one of my friend's aunts. Yeah. So this person in Florida, she lost the $15,000. They call her back for 30,000. But thank goodness, she didn't send the other 30,000, the extra 30,000, because she messaged her daughter and to find out that she was okay, But that was after she already lost 15,000. I'm not sure how much my friend's aunt sent, you know, but that's it's just crazy, in the heat of the moment, you hear your kid's voice, crying on the other end. Maybe you're not listening to, the robotic voice, and you think that it is real. And then in Italy, even so, out of the country, there was a fraud scheme that they used to mimic the voice of the Italian defense minister to ask for money for a ransom involving a kidnapped journalist. So authorities have froze 1 million in Italian money. You know, they froze $1 million. So the FBI has issued alerts about the increasing use of AI for the impersonation in ransom and kidnapping. So be aware, be aware. Hey Ryan. Yeah, so thank you for everybody that, passed through to listen to this. Please share, make people aware of this, scam that's going on so they won't be the next victim. Especially if you have older family members or friends that they are on the internet, but they're not really tech savvy or into AI, so they don't know how AI sounds, you know. So please, share the live, double tap that screen. If you're listening to this afterwards, hit that thumbs up button, share, let me know, comment, let me know if you know any friends or family members that have received these AI calls, scams, trying to scam them. Let me know if they went through with it and actually got scammed, or they knew better and they just hung up or something and didn't get scammed. Yeah, Ryan says AI is just starting. We ain't seen nothing yet. Isn't that? I think that's true too. And then you what? I mean, a lot of this shit is real. Like things that happen. Like even that, that movie Megan, even though it was just a movie, but I could see things like that happening, especially on Megan 2.0. The if you guys seen that, then you know. If you haven't seen it, go see it. But I believe we haven't seen anything yet. You know. That's why awareness, is everything. So, like I said, share this information with your family, set up code words, ask questions, ask questions that only they know, that your family member knows, that your friend knows, you know. Um yeah, and if you ever receive a call like that, of course, think rationally while you're on the phone with them. Text the person that they say is dumb, just to make sure that they are right. And as soon as they answer you, hang up that phone, you know? Or just don't pick up the phone. But they will call you from what looks like your family member's number. So that Fabi says she ain't watching no Megan. No, but it's like it's not a scary movie actually. It's just making you aware of, the robotics and the AI, the AI system and what could happen. So, it does get crazy. It can be crazy and it is gonna get crazy. Lady E said, I always believe that if they make movies and shows about things, it can actually happen. Yeah, right? Because how they got the idea. Yep. And they are also giving people ideas, But yeah, it's true. She said, I'm not watching no Megan. Nah, but it did make me Megan, the second part especially, because so much happens in that one. Yeah, it's crazy. There was another. I'm trying to think of it, but I was watching something else. Dang, I can't remember it. But there's another movie too that I was watching that they made a little boy, like a robot little boy, that AI. Damn, I forgot the damn name. It's a recent. I think it was on Netflix. A recent like little mini series. But yeah, those are interesting to me because things like that could happen. Like Ryan said, it's just starting. We're just aware of this. They had that for a long time before they actually came out with it. So gotta watch. We can't. I can't even say watch everything and be aware because it's so easy to get into our personal stuff when they are experienced in this. They can get into our bank accounts. You know, they could get into our insurance. They can get into our everything. You know, it's our social media platforms. You know, they're very smart. You work alongside robots, JLu? That's what you're saying? I think she's saying I work alongside robots is really scary. I could imagine, you know, and I'm just scared for our future, you know, because they already started taking jobs. Imagine in the future, you know, but when you like read up on these things, um customers, clients want the real life. They rather the real life communication. They don't want to talk to no robots because they want that real, you know, empathy, sympathy. They want that real, you know, person to person, human, um you know, relationship. They don't want no robots answering them or trying to sympathize with them. But this is very interesting and I'm gonna keep up with it, especially, you know, when you find somebody, when you hear somebody close to you getting scammed. Like, what the f, you know? That's sad. And you know, because they tell you to Zelle or whatever. So next time you're thinking of Zelling somebody, be careful too. Like even taking a payment through Zelle. If you get scammed, you don't get that money back through Zelle. You think it is because that's through your bank and everything, but no, they don't. They don't send. They You can't get your money back when you send through Zelle. So you have to be very careful. Even PayPal, if you send a payment a certain way, you know, if you don't, I think you have to put gifts and services or something like that because if you get scammed, they don't send you your money any other way. But, you know, just like I said, just be aware, you know, let your family members know. Um, your children, because who knows if they call. I mean, your children don't have access to that kind of money, I'm guessing. But I guess if you are wealthy, your kids do have credit cards and things like that. So yeah, I guess this could be important for them too, because what about if they get a call saying that their parent, you know, is kidnapped or something. But you know, just let everybody know, be aware. So yeah, it does definitely hit home. People have to be careful. Yes, they do. Yeah, I feel bad for elders. Yeah, definitely. You know, like I said, I have to tell my mom. So even my grandma, you know, God bless her, she's still alive. She's 95 years old. Imagine her getting a call like with my mom's voice or with my voice saying something like that. My grandmother would definitely send the money because she's really not up on this technology and AI. So not only do I have to tell my mother, I have to tell my grandmother, you know, like don't fall for it, you know. So yeah, let your elders know, let your parents know, let just everybody, you know. So share, 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 like, please, you know. People need they everybody needs to be aware, you know. Um, yeah. So, you guys know I am not monetized. If you enjoyed this, please donate to my Cash App. I would greatly appreciate it. Please make sure if you joined late, please check the beginning so you can, you know, hear the incidents that occurred in several states and also out of the country. Help me with my watch hours. I do have two playlists that if you can listen to or just let run on a second device, I greatly appreciate it. You know, I'm just trying to I'm just trying to live. I'm just trying to grow, you know, and everybody's support is definitely appreciated. Good morning, Mommy Money Getter. How are you? You're late. You're late. Better late than never. But yeah, I was talking about, I don't know if you were aware of the AI voice cloning scams that's been going around. Um, they'll sound like your family members and make them, in like kidnapping situations, or that they were in an accident and demanding money or whatever, acting like lawyers. So I was just made aware of it because it happened to somebody close to me. So I decided to look into it, and yeah, so it's crazy. My friend's aunt was scammed over the weekend. Um, Somebody called her sounding just like her daughter and saying that she was kidnapped, and if she hung up the phone that they were going to unalive her, and unfortunately she did send them money. So yeah. So yes, please watch the replay. I greatly appreciate it. Please share. um if you can donate to the channel, I greatly appreciate it. I did drop my Cash App. Also in my bio is my coffee link if that's easier for you, if you don't have a Cash App. But yeah, if you found this helpful, please share the stream, hit the like button, subscribe. I hope everybody's having a great day. Ryan, are you enjoying your day? Is it nice and bright over here? It was raining overnight, and this morning is just a cloudy, dreary day here today. But I hope everybody enjoys their hump day. So, yeah, make sure that you share this, please. Staying informed might literally protect someone you love, you know. So, thank you so much for being here. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next live. Hey, Callie. Hope you're having a good day. It's a nasty day here for us. You're probably working out at home today because of the rain. Yeah. But yeah, it's okay. Better late than never. Double tap that screen for me. Like, share, replay. If you're listening to this afterwards, hold on. If you're listening to this afterwards on the replay, please like, comment, let me know if you know about this scam that's been going on, and if you know anybody that has received these calls. Have you received these calls? You know, um, let's keep everybody aware and know what's going on. So thank you for being here. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next live.